Nobody said, let me check one thing. Okay, I gave you one example. I can give you another example. They say we overinflated numbers. That also, they didn't find it out. We disclosed. And in fact, they said one side only. We have already taken because I'm CFO of AEL also. We've taken the write down in AEL. We put it to loss through the P&L of AEL already. They didn't tell that because it's in the same note that they've taken from our own disclosure. So they only gave one side of it to create sensationalism that we understate revenue. Okay. So they've all of this, like then say diamond trading case, why have you got X person working for you? Because they were in the diamond trading case. What diamond trading case have been ruled by the regional director of customs, then the High Court of Gujarat. Okay. So now they said no case to answer. It's all bogus, this whole thing, investigation. Now they are saying, please tell. If they want to ask a question, they can go to High Court and say, no, we want to file against you. Go to Supreme Court. There's no question for us. So they've done this kind of thing to create. And so then in the middle, they threw this valuation thing. Okay, if you don't believe in our report, of course, they themselves know that it's all misrepresented thing. That valuation aspect. Okay. The valuation aspect is just logically flawed. Okay. You can disagree that, it should not be 20, it should be 22. I can say it should be 25 because we are growing fast. I can say it should be 30 because we are growing really fast, 22%. Somebody can say, no, I don't believe in 30. My risk means I need to be at I need to earn a minimum of 15%. I say, no, you should earn 13%. So you can have this debate of what actual will be on your expected rate of return on a particular asset. We understand that. But that will be a difference. Somebody will say, I want 15% minimum return. Somebody will say, I am okay with 12. Okay, I might say being in India, having, Indian heritage and growing up in India, went to school, college in India. I would say, I'm happy with 10% return. I'm sitting here only. So that can be there. But that's a variation in your expectation. You cannot fundamentally say that the world over, core infra utilities can trade at 20x EV EBITDA, but for Adani Group, it should only be 6. And what is this? I mean, we can laugh at it. It's like a joke, but it has caused damage to minority shareholders and criminal damage to them. So if now their legal team determines that case has to be answered, then they must face justice in India.
Cool. The another thing which has been talked about is the debt levels of the group. Too much has been written about. You have clarified many times that it's across various businesses and not and well funded for. But just to bring it back on the table, the debt issue. While you have given us a timeline in the earlier interview about debt to EBITDA level that you're looking for each of the businesses, on a gross or net debt level, is there a time for you to say that, okay, by this year, we'll be net debt zero?
No, net debt zero for infra business would be a problem. Because see, infra, we are a service provider, non-discretionary to consumer. Now let's imagine a case. You are a rickshawala. Okay. Now let's, for example, we have a person who supports our my mother's house in Patiala. Okay. Now they also have electricity at their house. How do you determine the price of electricity? It's the rate of return on asset. Now let's say you have no debt, now 100% equity. Now equity rate is higher than debt. So means that charge has to go up. Are we in a position to charge more to our public? So infra capital has to be a judicious mix so we can keep tariffs low. And in India, it's particularly important we keep tariffs low so that all people have access to good quality infrastructure. If somebody wants to afford having proper electricity and gas connections, they should be able to afford. It should not be prohibitively expensive. If we make everything equity, it will become expensive. So certain debt has to be there in the mix so that you can keep the cost of capital, overall cost of capital low. Now, how do you determine what is valid amount of debt? Then that becomes the question. Now there it is basically we look at how much cash we produce, and that determines how much debt we can have. So our objective there is very simple, that we should comfortably have the debt amount that will give us the same credit rating as Government of India. Okay, so if you look at Adani Ports, Adani Transmission, parts of Adani Green, they have the same credit rating as Government of India. Okay, meaning that they have the same credit risk. Now, beyond that, that's the highest we can achieve to be the same as your country domicile. So all our business already are at that level. If we reduce debt any further, then by default, tariffs for consumers will rise, because we still have to make the return on equity. That is not a good thing to do. In fact, 6 of our businesses are regulated also. Not only we have to file accounts in the stock exchange, we have to file our numbers with the regulator also, under Electricity Act, under PNG-RB Act, under ERA, airports. So when we file, regulator says to us, I will only give you weighted average return of X%. Now, equity is higher than that. So regulator themselves say that you must have some prudent level of debt. Because otherwise, question will come to them that, you increase the tariffs on people. So so the target we set is that our debt metrics should be similar as if we were same credit quality like Government of India. And so we start from there. And then whatever we have to do in the amount of debt, how we set it up. So for example, in infrastructure, transmission asset, 35 years, 60 years. You can't have 3-year debt also. So you have a 30-year debt. So now we have to pay a little bit more for it. So we have 30-year debt. But what it means is we don't have to refinance it. We don't have to, rate doesn't change. So it can be slowly pay it off in 30 years.